Yeah, I think for most people it is really the right fit. You're buying that system, the playbook, and all you have to do is follow the system. And the franchisor is going to train you on the system. They're going to provide support for the system. However, there are some people that are true entrepreneurs and want to create everything on their own. They want to develop, you know, all of the systems by themselves, whether the systems work or not. They want to be the ones to do it. And if you are that person, there's nothing wrong with that, but you probably won't like being part of the franchise system because they developed it all for you, basically. But the expectation will be that you're going to utilize those systems as well.
I just read over the weekend that SBA financing just got a boost, meaning if before it was about 5 million was the max, generally speaking, now it's 10 million. So it gives the ability to buy the real estate and buy the business. Which type of franchising models do you see right now that you've worked with groups that have a proven playbook that are ones that involve the real estate as well as the business itself? Or what industry that is, generally speaking?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Build to Billions podcast, where we guide successful entrepreneurs and investors on their journey from millions to billions. We believe the key to scaling and compounding your wealth and life starts every single day with the mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership and applying billionaire biblical principles. Our ultimate goal is to help you scale and compound your wealth and life so you can give more all the way to help MVPs. My name is Brett Swartz. Each and every episode, we're joined by the world's top entrepreneurs, millionaires, or billionaires, and they share their secrets, insights, and wisdom with us so we can all level up and make a bigger impact. By the way, we're also streaming on capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. If you have a large exit coming up, Bitcoin, business, stock, make sure to go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to get started. Hey, I'm excited about our next guest. He's out of the great state of Michigan, and he loves to help investors and corporate executives bring clarity to franchising, whether the goal is diversification, growth, or career transition. He's the founder of Franchise Guidance, and he's a strategic finance advisor and founder of the company. He's helping executives bring clarity. He has over 30 years of experience in franchise, and he has led franchise development for major brands, successfully owned and sold his own top-performing fitness franchise, and guided hundreds of individuals through critical financial and lifestyle decisions, and so much more. Please welcome to the show with me, Mr. Jeff Shafritz. Jeff, how are we doing?
Brett, thanks so much for having me. I'm doing fantastic. So I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Excellent. For our listeners to get to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Yeah. So for the last actually 30 years, I've been helping executives and existing business owners find kind of either their next opportunity or the next chapter in their lives. And I work with hundreds of different franchises. And in my role, we sit down and first figure out, hey, is franchising the right fit for you? Is business ownership the right fit for you? And then I take the individuals through a deep process so we can get an understanding of what their goals are, their skill sets, their interests, and their investment criteria. And basically build a model and come back with franchise opportunities that fit exactly what they're looking for. And from that point, I teach them how to investigate franchise opportunities so they can make an educated and informed decision.
Jeff, I find that mission, vision, values, and personal life mission statement are the things that are most missed when people are in careers or in businesses or even transitions. And oftentimes they're not very clear on those. So how do you help people get clear on those before they start making tactical decisions on what franchise to choose?
Well, that's an excellent point, and that's a big part of what I do. The reality is most people look at a business and think that hey, this is awesome. This product's great. If I had this, I'd make a killing. And the reality is, there's so much more to it. You have to look and see what your goals are, what you want to accomplish with the business, and then find the right tool to help you get there. Sometimes it's franchising, sometimes it's not. But within that category of when it is franchising, there are so many different types of opportunities out there. And there's a lot of opportunities that are great that I would be dissatisfied with the lifestyle or struggle with because I don't have the skill sets. So a big part of what I do is try to get an understanding first of what they want to accomplish, and then we figure out a way to help them get there.
Okay, great. By the way, speaking with Mr. Jeff Shafritz, if you want to learn more, and he might pronounce that last name a little bit better than I can, but you can go to his website, franchiseguidance.com, franchiseguidance.com. You know, Jeff, 7 million businesses will trade hands, I believe, or want to trade hands in the next, 10 or so years. The largest wealth transfer in the history of the planet, the baby boomers who've built these businesses for a long time. They say about 12% will actually trade, at least, is it less than 12% will trade because they don't properly have their systems, their processes, their procedures, all of these key core things. I would say that's an argument for franchising, right? Where you can buy into an existing proven model. You mentioned a minute ago, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. I mean, I think more than likely it probably is, but when is it not? Because it seems like people, if they're going to buy into something, it already has a proven model, proven systems, proven process.
Yeah, I think for most people it is really the right fit. You're buying that system, the playbook, and all you have to do is follow the system. And the franchisor is going to train you on the system. They're going to provide support for the system. However, there are some people that are true entrepreneurs and want to create everything on their own. They want to develop, you know, all of the systems by themselves, whether the systems work or not. They want to be the ones to do it. And if you are that person, there's nothing wrong with that, but you probably won't like being part of the franchise system because they've developed it all for you, basically. But the expectation will be that you're going to utilize those systems as well.
I just read over the weekend that SBA financing just got a boost, meaning if before it was about 5 million was the max, generally speaking, now it's 10 million. So it gives the ability to buy the real estate and buy the business. Which type of franchising models do you see right now that you've worked with groups that have a proven playbook that are ones that involve the real estate as well as the business itself? Or what industry that is, generally speaking?
Yeah. So I work with all different types of franchises, first of all, and some of them don't even have real estate that have to be a component of the business. But the ones that do have real estate that you see a lot of people actually purchasing the real estate ahead of time would be automotive industries or the automotive industry, excuse me, where a lot of people are buying the land. You have things like swim schools where people will buy the land and build it out. You have things like salon suites where many people rent, but some people will buy the land and rent out the salon suites. Preschools and daycares and things of that nature, and of course, restaurants would fall into that category.
What, what about jujitsu or like martial arts or like, I know these seems to be maybe tougher franchises, but have you seen anyone working well within that world, like modeling it out? You know what the worst thing to do is when you're selling a business? Paying huge capital gains taxes. In fact, they're about 20 to 50% of the sale. And if your client is selling, whether you're a business broker, M&A advisor, financial advisor, they have a large capital gains tax problem. And guess what? We have a solution. We build capital gains tax solutions for sellers of highly appreciated assets, including real estate, including businesses and other assets. And we want to encourage you to take action today to learn about what solutions are available. So think about a business, think about real estate, think about other assets that have at least $1 million net proceeds and $1 million gain, and the sale is going to result in 20 to 50% in tax. So what can you do? Well, you can build a capital gains tax solution with our team. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com or click on the link below to get started.
Yeah, there's been a couple franchisors that have built successful jiu-jitsu franchises and martial arts. I would put that in the health and wellness category, and I think that's one of my favorite categories, actually, the health and wellness category, because once you hit a certain number, everything is profit, typically a certain number of members, meaning most of your costs are fixed. And as you start to grow and expand, you're keeping your membership, it's very easy to model out and understand the economics of the deal. Not that it's an easy business, but it's very easy to model out and understand the economics.
Yeah.
However, most people, oh, I'm sorry, but most people don't buy the real estate for that. Most of the times it's going in a shopping center or something of that nature.
Yeah, and even health and wellness is why we're on that topic. My niece, she does jujitsu, and she just got her first MMA fight, and pretty cool stuff. And she's
That's
been
awesome.
working it for a long time, and lots of tournaments and lots of success. And so and her brother is like a personal trainer, my nephew, and and so like the model would be like, hey, if you could find a building or with industrial mini center where you could have different suites of personal training, CrossFit. You could have jujitsu next door. You could have. I'm even thinking about just the peptides and supplements, and that seems to be really catching a lot of momentum here. What is your thought on like a hybrid model where you're able to have multiple streams of membership income?
So I like that model a lot. I think when you're looking at the franchise side of things, so most of the time you're going to want to be in a kind of a premier shopping center because you want to have people be able to find you very easily
Mhm.
and go there. But I understand where you're coming from with that, and I think it makes a lot of sense from a hybrid standpoint. Interestingly enough, there are a couple parent companies that own multiple brands in the fitness and wellness world. So you could buy a franchise, Pilates studios, and if you wanted to take up multiple locations or shops in the shopping center or build your own, you could have a Pilates studio. You could have a stretch studio. You could have a personal training studio right next door, and I think that makes a lot of sense because people know they're coming there for health and wellness, basically.
Okay, let's shift a little bit to like to the wealth and finance and that kind of world, right? I'm in capital gains tax exit planning, and we've stayed really niche in what we do. In fact, we just refer a lot of the other strategies out because we want to be the best in class of what we do with basically building capital gains tax exit trust that people can sell a business or Bitcoin or real estate stock to, and then defer the tax and take it over time in installments. And so we've done a lot of business in here, but I've thought about maybe buying a 1031 exchange franchise company because it's very very close to what we do. Although it's a complement, or we think it's a kind of an advanced way of doing it, and or maybe it's bookkeeping, or maybe it's I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I've just kind of referred it all out. At what point do you look at, all right, we can plug and play and get a lot of synergy here with buying a franchise within the world of wealth and finance?
Yeah, I think that a lot of companies are moving to that point in the franchise world. So, for instance, uh, in the home improvement and commercial improvement field, you find a lot of franchisors. What they're good at is franchising. It doesn't matter whether it's a painting franchise, an insulation franchise, a roofing franchise. They're great at franchising, and so uh, what I'm seeing is a lot of people who are already in the trades come to me and say, "Hey, I want to add my next thing," and it actually helps them systemize their current business because now they're running off of a system, and then there's opportunity to grow with other systems within it. As far as um, somebody who's got an existing business and is just looking to add to it, if you had a fitness person, so your brother-in-law who is a personal trainer, maybe he wants to add something to his portfolio, and there's some really great fitness opportunities and wellness opportunities, or wants to add peptides and some of the other things that are out there. There's phenomenal right now, kind of like wellness and longevity franchises that are popping up, and there's
Cool. Let's get practical on this. So, what kind of numbers, or generally speaking, if someone's like, yeah, I like to leave my corporate position, or I'd like to, buy that second company to strategically within the franchise model. What is the typical, investment, and what are the best, franchisors? What are they looking for? Is it the O's or the E's? I'm not sure. Those, because I'm probably not accepting everybody, right? I know. Imagine like the hardest maybe might be someone like a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A, or something like that. Although I don't necessarily know all of that world, but what what are they looking for in the person that they approve?
So, a couple things about that. One, you hope that the franchisor isn't accepting everybody because
Right.
ultimately, the way the system grows and evolves is with really strong franchisees. So you don't want
Mhm.
to go out and just sell to anyone who can breathe and write a check. Uh, the the other thing I would say is I think a lot of people make a mistake and they look at McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and those types of businesses and they think, wow, those are killing it. I'd love to do that. But what they don't realize is you're walking away from your corporate job where you're making, a nice six-figure salary, working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And now you're going to be making a third of what you're making in the corporate world with your first unit, but you got to learn that for 18 months before you're ready to go and start expanding. And so um, that's why I love what I do, because there are a lot of opportunities out there that can give you what you're looking for without having to have the things that you don't want in your life. And if work-life balance is important at all, it's really hard for a 40 or 50-year-old person who's got a family to all of a sudden say, I'm not going to see anymore on the weekends or the evenings. But that's the reality in a food franchise, whereas there's a lot of other opportunities where that's not the case at all. And the franchisor is looking for somebody who is basically uh, got the leadership experience and abilities to run the business. They have the skill set of the most important criteria of the business to be successful. So you don't have to have the industry experience, but you have to have the skill set. And I'll get to that in a second. And that they're willing to, follow a proven system. That they're buying the brand not because they like the product only, but they like the system, and they realize if they follow the system, it's going to give them a much better chance to be successful than if they tried to figure this out on their own. So that's what they're looking for, basically.
Oh, okay, great. And I'm curious, maybe you can give some case studies that you've done help others recently, health and wellness, or wealth and finance, or whatever industry that seems to be, and just kind of walk us through a story or a case study, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a gentleman come to me, and he was in marketing, and he very high up, significant income, and he was at a kind of a crossroads, looking for his next job, trying to decide whether he was going to do consulting. What direction was he going to go? Was he going to do a full time business? And we started looking at different opportunities, and he got we narrowed it down to two. One where basically he's going to put in a lot of work, but he could do a bunch of other things. He could do consulting. He could even take a job. And then one where he had to basically focus full-time energies for the first couple years on that business before he could put somebody in place so that the job would be his business. And we just went through a lot of he went through a lot of process, a lot of due diligence, a lot of validation. And what he found out wasn't that one was a better franchise necessarily, but he found out what he wanted out of his life. And what he decided that he wanted out of his life was not a full-time, job business. And so he went the direction of a Pilates franchise, which is really hot right now in the fitness world. He went the direction of a Pilates franchise where he could basically put the time in, but he could scale with managers, and gives him the flexibility to either focus on that if he wants to, or he could take a full-time job. He could do some consulting. And so every business is a little bit different. And my goal is to help people figure out how they want to get to where they want to get in their life, and then plug them into businesses that'll help them get there. And sometimes you got to go through a couple of different iterations to know which way you actually want to go.
Okay, excellent. We're speaking with Jeff Shafritz, everybody. Jeff Shafritz, and you can learn more about how to get started with franchising, how to maybe leave your corporate position to something else, and maybe even the mistakes that people make along the way. So maybe it's not you, but go to franchiseguidance.com, franchiseguidance.com. Let's move a little bit into just generally speaking, someone is very successful and they expand and they go to exit. I think one of the biggest challenges that people have is they don't have capital gains tax guidance, right, for people that are exiting. So I'm curious, either yourself or people that you've worked with, what's been the biggest frustration when it comes to the $5+ million exit of a business, and massive tax, and maybe not having the strategy or the team to help them with their next season of life.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think people know where to go, and I'm actually excited to spend some time with you because now I have somebody that I can refer people to. I use various CPAs for different parts of the process, but on the exit strategy side, they're looking for that help, and that is a huge reason why people go into business. When you're opening a business, I tell people you're going to take a step backwards, especially if you go full time into the business. You're going to take a step backwards financially, but you're doing it to go several steps forwards in the future. And during that time, you're taking a step backwards. You're building equity so that you can sell 5, 10 years down the road. And that's why a lot of people get into the business, especially if they have a job. They don't need the additional income. They want to keep rolling that into additional units so that they can turn around and have a successful exit. But I'll tell you, you know, the the people that I work with uh, who sell are definitely looking for somebody like you that can help them with that exit because that's definitely not in my bailiwick. So
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jeff. Yeah, people want to
yeah,
learn more, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We just helped the CPA exit his own business, right? Many years. Can you imagine that even CPAs need help with capital gains tax exit planning when they exit their own business? And so we helped him exit, defer all of his tax. And the beauty is unlock truly passive income where it replaces his day to day, but also give him the flexibility to start another business. I think that's really important that you're getting really clear on what it is that you want to be doing with your time, your energy, your lifestyle. You got to have the business plan, you got to have your personal finance plan, you got to have your personal lifestyle plan. And these are three legs to a stool. And if one of those is off, it can tend to be off. It's like having a flat tire driving down the road. And so before you exit, before you make a big move into like a new franchise or a big opportunity, make sure these are all really, really clear and also very solid, right? So that you're making a step on solid ground. If you want to learn more about how to defer up to 100% of your capital gains tax, how to eliminate estate tax upon your exit, just go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. It works for businesses, Bitcoin, real estate, stock, any asset of any kind. In fact, we're seeing hopefully some large IPOs exit coming up and helping some original founders and or team members exit highly appreciated stock. Anyways, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We're running out of time. Jeff, are you ready for the lightning round?
yeah, shoot.
All right. Knowing what you know now, if you go back to your 20-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget? Make sure to tell yourself to do.
I would say take some risks in your life, and basically things will work out if you're smart enough, or you work hard enough, you take calculated risks. Don't be afraid to try something new, and don't be afraid to fail.
Excellent. Love it. Question number 2, what's the number one book you recommended the most or gifted in the past year?
I would say the book that I really like, and it's kind of strange because it it doesn't sound that great coming from me, but it's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. And I was reading it to understand psychology a little bit more and understand fear, and I had a lot of fear when I bought my franchise. But the book was just really helpful in decision making in a lot of aspects of your life, and just being able to move forward. And so anybody, it's a nice quick read, but anybody who struggles a little bit with decision making of any kind, I think it's a fantastic book.
Excellent. What was the franchise you bought and what was the biggest lesson you learned?
So the franchise I bought was a fitness franchise, and the biggest lesson that I learned is that it's a lot harder to operate a business. I've been on this side of the business my whole career. It's harder to operate a business um, than someone might think. However, once you kind of figure it out, it's fantastic because I spent 95% of my time doing this and 5% of my time doing that. And then I had a really nice exit on that business. So, I think just going in eyes wide open and understanding what you're getting into uh,
Cool.
is the key.
Excellent. What are you most curious about right now?
I'm most curious about some of the stuff going on in wellness. Frankly, I think there's some really interesting concepts out there, but all of and specifically within wellness, longevity. I'm hitting this stage of my life where everything's starting to hurt a little bit, and I want to keep going. I want to keep doing the things I enjoy doing. So that's got me curious.
I think that's so cool. I just started peptides about 60 days ago. I can tell you it's pretty game changing. Like hadn't I've done the general creatine and collagen just
Yeah.
over the but now we're doing a little bit more stuff, and it's pretty awesome. I feel really good. So I would encourage people to check it out. Check with your doctor, all that stuff, but check it out. Next question. Number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by.
Wayne Gretzky said had a quote, and it's quoted a lot, but I actually really believe it, which is you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And the fact of the matter is, the reason a lot of people don't move forward and do their own business or don't move forward with something that's a change is because they're afraid to take the shot. And you gotta it takes a lot to get over fear and anxiety, but if you're not willing to go in there and you're not willing to step up and take the shot, you're never gonna reap the rewards of what that shot could give you, no matter what it is. So
Absolutely. Next question. Number one AI tool that you're using or that you like, and what are you using it for?
So it's funny that you say that, because I'm actually like documenting a bunch of stuff on AI on what I do and trying to figure some things out. So I use ChatGPT a lot, and a lot of it's for just helping me put together themes and ideas and things of that nature and organize a little bit more. I use Claude a little bit as well, because the graphics are a little bit nicer with Claude, and I'm going to start to try to get into using AI a little bit more to understand my candidates a little bit better, as far as not understanding the candidates when I'm working with them, but understanding how to get to the right candidates and figure out whether they're the right candidates ahead of time, so I can market to them, basically.
I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. The very last question, we'll wrap it up. Jeff, and I want to again, thank you for being on the show, sharing your wisdom with us. And I want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, because we need more entrepreneurs to create more jobs. We're never going to spend our way or tax our way out of all of the spending that's going on. But as the economy grows and as jobs are created, it's great for the world, great for the country. And so the question is this: how do you best keep a mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership after all your success you've had over the years?
Well, frankly, I do what I do because I love helping people and watching people succeed and change their life for the better, and so that's been what I've done throughout my whole career. The only difference is now the financial part of it isn't as big of a motivation as it was before, but I always treated it like that. But now, you know, for me, it's just seeing people change their lives, and there's so many people that I love working with. I love working with younger people. You mentioned Bitcoin. There's younger people that have money, and they need to figure it out, and they want to have more of a structured, business. I love helping corporate executives who are basically working from home. COVID helped quite a bit, actually, with franchising. There's a lot of opportunities out there. I'm not saying you're not doing anything, because you are. But if you're working from home and you have some flexibility and you have income coming in, that takes away a lot of the pressure of short-term income when you're building a business. It's a great time to start. So, and I'm really passionate about helping retirees, because now, I'm at the age now where people my age are starting to retire, but we're younger and you can't just not do anything. So there's a lot of opportunity out there if you want to build something. You're in your mid 50s or early 60s and get started with an opportunity. So
I love it, Jeff. I actually want to do one other bonus one, because you mentioned the Bitcoin thing, and I just want to imagine someone had $1 million, $5 million, or $10 million in Bitcoin, and they could exit, defer the tax, and use it to start up a business. In fact, we actually helped a client do that. She had Bitcoin of over 50 million and exited 5 of that to fund a business startup, all tax deferred, by the way, out of California. But if someone had a massive amount of Bitcoin right now, they're listening, and they're like, hey, Jeff, what business could I start if I had $1 million, 5 or 10 million? Just real quick, is there like, man, I would, if you had $1 million to start and a passion for it, I would start this, in this area or this particular business, 5 or 10, or buy into the franchise?
Well, I want to preface that with fit is really important. So you got to make sure the operational side of the business works. But if you have $1 to $10 million, I really love the longevity play right now, and there's some really interesting concepts out there with huge people behind the brands. And one of the things that's interesting is I know what's coming out in 2 years because they're selling them all now. So when you want a franchise, sometimes you wait, you see it being built, and then you go and say, hey, this is great, I'd like to get it, but it's already gone. Once you see it, it's usually already gone. And I know that the next 2 years, you're going to see an unbelievable amount of longevity clinics that are coming to the table. But when I say unbelievable, I mean what some of these are bringing to the table is absolutely amazing, and the people behind them are incredible. So, that's probably the direction I go right now.
Excellent. So if you're listening to this and you have massive amount of Bitcoin and you want to exit, defer your tax, guess what? We have a service for you, capital gains tax solutions that can do that. We've already proven it. And guess what? You have Jeff on the other side of that. Once the funds are in, typically Charles Schwab, you can partner with the trust to go start a business, a longevity business. If this is something that connects with you and you're interested, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com and mention that you saw me and Jeff speaking about this. And maybe we can help you build a team to go into the next season of your life to make a huge impact for others, and to grow as well as you become an entrepreneur on that side of things. Hey, we're way over time. I want to just thank Jeff again for being on the show. Jeff, one more time, people want to find you. What's the best place for them to find you?
www.franchiseguidance.com, www.franchiseguidance.com. And Brett, thanks so much for having me on the show. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody.
Excellent. Yeah, this is the Build to Billions podcast. I'll stream it on Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. And we're on this journey with you to scale from millions to billions. So we give more all the way to help MVPs, the most vulnerable people. Encourage you to take action like we talked about today. Share this with someone who can be an encouragement to as well. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye now.